Shark is not our enemy. The truth about shark attacks. Here is what happens in most shark encounters. A surfer paddles out at dawn. From below, their silhouette looks like a seal. The shark, nearsighted in the churning water, relying on senses we can barely comprehend, makes an investigative bite. One bite, the shark realizes its mistake immediately. Humans are not prey. We are too bony. The shark releases and swims away. This is not predation, this is mistaken identity. Marine biologists have studied thousands of shark encounters. The pattern is consistent. Sharks do not hunt humans. We are not food. When a shark does bite, it is investigating something unfamiliar in its environment. The majority of bites are single, exploratory events. The shark is not trying to eat you. It is trying to understand what you are. And here is something even more remarkable. Sharks have been known to recognize individual divers. Researchers who spend years studying the same populations report that sharks remember them. They display curiosity, not aggression. They swim closer. They investigate, but they do not attack. The great white shark, the so-called perfect predator, has been documented swimming alongside divers for hours without incident. In South Africa, cage diving operations have operated for decades. Millions of people have entered the water with these animals. Fatalities among operators are virtually non-existent. So where does the fear come from? It comes from 1975. A single film that embedded itself so deeply in our collective consciousness that we still cannot escape it. The mechanical shark that didn't work on set became a monster that works perfectly in our nightmares. The film was fiction, but the fear it created was real, and that fear has consequences. The real shark is not the beast from the movies. Protecting sharks is not just about saving a species.
И у этого страха есть последствия.
The real killers. What we're doing to sharks. Here is the truth that should terrify you. Humans kill 100 million sharks every year. Let me say that again. 100 million. That is 274,000 sharks killed every single day. 11,000 every hour. 3 every second. Sharks kill fewer than 10 humans annually. We kill 10,000 sharks in the time it takes you to finish your morning coffee. The methods are brutal. Shark finning. Fishermen catch sharks, slice off their fins while they are still alive, and dump the bodies back into the ocean. The sharks sink. They cannot swim without fins. They suffocate slowly, bleeding out in the dark water, all for a bowl of soup. An estimated 73 million sharks die this way every year. Bycatch, sharks caught accidentally in nets meant for tuna and swordfish. They drown before they can be released. Their bodies are often discarded as waste. Targeted fishing for meat, for liver oil, for cartilage, for jaws to hang on walls. The result? Oceanic shark populations have declined by 71% since 1970. 71%. In your parents' lifetime, more than 2/3 of the ocean's sharks have vanished. Over 1/3 of all shark species are now threatened with extinction. The scalloped hammerhead, the oceanic whitetip, the great hammerhead, the whale shark, the basking shark. These are not obscure deep-sea creatures. These are the animals that have patrolled our oceans for hundreds of millions of years, and we are wiping them out. Every shark sanctuary is a statement that we can choose differently, that we can value life over profit. What sharks actually do, the guardians of the ocean. Now let me tell you what sharks really are. Not monsters, not villains, guardians. Sharks are apex predators. They sit at the top of the food chain, and that position gives them a power that ripples through every level of the ocean ecosystem. When sharks hunt, they do not just control prey populations. They change behavior. Fish that would otherwise overgraze on seagrass stay alert. They keep moving. They do not settle in one place and strip it bare. The seagrass survives. And seagrass is one of the most important carbon sinks on Earth. On coral reefs, sharks keep mid-level predators in check. Without sharks, grouper populations explode. Groupers eat herbivorous fish. Without herbivores, algae overruns the coral. The reef dies. The entire ecosystem collapses. Scientists have documented this cascade. Reefs with healthy shark populations are more resilient. They recover faster from bleaching events. They support more species. They produce more fish for human fisheries. But sharks do more than hunt. They are nutrient transporters. A single grey reef shark can deliver multiple pounds of nitrogen to a reef every day through its waste. That nitrogen fertilizes the algae that feed the coral that builds the reef that protects our coastlines. They are ocean mixers. When sharks dive deep and surface again, they move nutrient-rich water from the depths to the surface. This feeds phytoplankton and phytoplankton, those microscopic plants drifting in the sunset upper ocean. Sharks help maintain systems that support phytoplankton to help in producing 50% of the oxygen we breathe. 50%. Every second breath you take comes from the ocean, and sharks help make that possible. They are also carbon sinks. When sharks die naturally, their bodies sink to the ocean floor. The carbon stored in their tissues stays buried for centuries. A single false shark can sequester tons of carbon over its lifetime. Remove the sharks, and that carbon returns to the atmosphere. The math is staggering. Restoring whale populations alone could remove 8.7 million tons of carbon from the atmosphere annually, the equivalent of 110,000 hectares of forest. Sharks play their part by maintaining the entire system. Remove them and the meadows die. Protecting sharks is not just about saving a species. It is about preserving one of Earth's most efficient carbon capture systems. It is climate action, disguised as conservation. The secret abilities. What makes sharks extraordinary? But sharks are not just ecologically important. They are biologically extraordinary. They possess abilities that sound like science fiction. And these abilities are now helping human medicine. Start with the sixth sense. Sharks have an organ called the ampullae of Lorenzini, tiny gel-filled pores clustered around their snouts. These organs detect electrical fields, not strong currents, weak ones. The kind generated by the muscle contractions of a fish hiding under sand, the kind created by your heartbeat from 3 feet away. Sharks can detect electrical impulses as weak as 5 billionths of a volt per square centimetre. That is sensitive enough to detect the difference in electrical field if you connected 2 AA batteries 10,000 miles apart. Hammerhead sharks use this sense like a metal detector, sweeping their broad heads over the seafloor to find stingrays buried completely out of sight. Great white sharks roll their eyes back for protection during an attack and rely entirely on electroreception to guide their jaws to the target. But that is not all. Sharks can navigate using Earth's magnetic field. They sense the magnetic lines that run from pole to pole and use them like an internal GPS. A great white shark named Nicole was tracked swimming from South Africa to Australia and back, a round trip of 20,000 kilometers in 9 months. She navigated open ocean with no landmarks, no visual cues, and found her way home. Sharks have been on this planet for over 400 million years. They survived the Permian extinction that killed 96% of all marine species. They survived the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. They survived ice ages and warming periods and shifting continents. They have existed in essentially their current form for longer than trees have grown on land. And they have developed adaptations that medical science is only now beginning to understand. Sharks rarely get cancer because sharks appear to have strong immune defenses. They heal rapidly from wounds that would kill other animals. Their cartilage contains compounds that inhibit tumor growth. Their blood contains antibodies that neutralize toxins. Research into shark biology has contributed to treatments for cystic fibrosis, viral infections, and autoimmune disorders. Shark-derived squalene, a compound found in their liver oil, has been used in hundreds of millions of vaccine doses, including flu vaccines and some COVID-19 vaccines. It enhances immune response and makes vaccines more effective. Their skin is covered in dermal denticles, tiny tooth-like scales that reduce drag and prevent bacterial attachment. Scientists have replicated this structure to create antibacterial surfaces for hospitals. Shark skin patterns reduce bacterial adhesion by up to 85%. They are being used to develop new medical devices, cleaner surgical equipment, and antimicrobial textiles. Sharks can replace their teeth throughout their lives. A great white may go through 30,000 teeth. The genetic mechanism that allows this continuous regeneration is being studied to develop treatments for human tooth loss. The same genes that build shark teeth are present in humans. Sharks simply never turn them off. The swell shark possesses biofluorescence. It absorbs blue light and transforms it into a brilliant green glow, possibly for communication or camouflage in the deep. The Greenland shark swims so slowly it was once thought to be lazy, until scientists discovered it lives over 400 years, making it the longest-lived vertebrate on Earth. Each species is a laboratory of innovation, refined over hundreds of millions of years, and we are only beginning to understand what they can teach us. The economic reality: sharks are worth more alive. But perhaps the most compelling argument for shark conservation is not ecological or medical, it is economic. A dead shark is worth about $100 to a fisherman. $100 for the fins, the meat, the liver oil. One transaction, one payment, one life. A live shark is worth millions. In Palau, shark diving tourism contributes $18 million to the national economy annually. That is 8% of the country's GDP. A single reef shark that frequents dive sites is valued at $179,000 per year. Over its lifetime, that shark generates nearly $2 million. In the Bahamas, shark diving generates $113 million annually. In Fiji, $42 million. In French Polynesia, each individual shark at popular dive sites contributes over $300,000 per year to the local economy. Globally, shark tourism generates over $314 million per year and supports more than 10,000 jobs. That number is projected to exceed $780 million by 2033. Compare that to the global shark fishery, $630 million annually and declining. Because we are running out of sharks, the math is simple. A shark that is fished once is worth $100. A shark that is protected generates hundreds of thousands of dollars over decades. It supports local businesses. It creates jobs. It brings visitors who spend money on hotels, restaurants, and services. Sharks are worth more alive than dead. The evidence is overwhelming. Countries that have protected their shark populations have seen economic benefits that far exceed what fishing ever provided. The choice is not between conservation and economics. It is between a dying industry that destroys the resource it depends on and a thriving one that preserves it for generations. The market has spoken. The only question is whether we will listen before it is too late. The diversity beyond the great white. And yet, when most people think of sharks, they picture one animal: the great white, the movie star, the monster. survive on a diet of 90% seagrass. It is the only known omnivorous shark. It eats plants. The cookie cutter shark is the size of a house cat. It preys on animals much larger than itself, dolphins, tuna, even other sharks, by latching on and twisting out a plug of flesh. It leaves perfectly circular wounds. It has even been known to bite submarines. The wobbegong looks like a living carpet. It lies motionless on the seafloor, its ornate pattern blending with the reef. When prey swims overhead, it strikes with lightning speed. Each of these animals is a shark. Each plays a different role in the ocean. Each is threatened by the same forces: overfishing, habitat loss, and the misconception that they are monsters. It is costing us the most diverse group of predators the ocean has ever produced. We are not just losing sharks, we are losing 500 different solutions to 500 different evolutionary challenges. We are losing a library of life we barely know how to read. The choice. So here we are, at the end of the story, and you have a choice to make. You can continue believing the myth, the fin in the water, the jaws, the music. You can let fear guide your relationship with the ocean. You can support policies that kill sharks to make beaches safe. You can ignore the reality that sharks are not hunting us, or you can choose differently. You can recognize that sharks are not the villains of this story. We are. We are the ones killing 100 million of them every year. We are the ones driving them toward extinction. We are the ones who should be afraid, not of being bitten, but of what happens when they are gone. Because if we lose the sharks, we lose the reefs. We lose the seagrass. We lose the fish that billions of people depend on for food. We lose the carbon sinks that help regulate our climate. We lose the oxygen producers that fill every second breath we take. The ocean without sharks is not a safer ocean. It is a dying ocean. And we are part of that ocean. The water in your body was once seawater. The air in your lungs was produced by marine plants. We are connected to the sharks. Whether we acknowledge it or not, they have survived 400 million years. They have survived mass extinctions that wiped out nearly all life on Earth. They have survived everything nature has thrown at them. The question is, can they survive us? The shark is not your enemy. The shark is a guardian, a survivor, a reminder that the ocean is wild and complex and interconnected. And it is in our hands whether they continue to swim through these waters or become just another entry in the fossil record. We were wrong about sharks. It is time we made that right. Educate those who still fear the fin. The shark is not a monster. It never was. It is waiting to see if we will finally live up to that responsibility.